The forbidden door looks like it remains closed. There seems to be no AEW and New Japan working relationship right now, going by the last 2 days of Wrestle Kingdom events. I'm Ollie Davis. This is Luke Owen. Welcome to our Wrestle Kingdom 14-day... Knee? That's Japanese for the number 2.
I picked up as much.
Review! Please press the thumbs up button, give us a subscribe, leave a comment down below with what your thoughts were on the show, whether you think AEW and New Japan might work together, your thoughts on that excellent main event, and the not so excellent angle that closed the show, and also get in your super chats, because we'll be getting to those throughout the episode. But first off,
just want to rep Xandermania.
Just rapping Xandermania, one of our loyal fans watching along with us on the live stream earlier. You got up at 4 a.m.?
4 a.m.
I got up at 4:45. We were in the office by 4:45, and we've just finished streaming 4.5 hours of Wrestle Kingdom 14 reactions. What a lovely time with the Japanese boys.
And what a fabulous show it was as well. A
really
great night/morning of professional wrestling. As it always is. It's the best way to kick off the wrestling year. It's the January 4th and 5th shows. You know you're going to have a good time. And we had a good time. This was a brilliant show. This was great.
It was a brilliant show. So much fun. Excellent matches. Great characters. Over wrestlers. But, Luke, it was also the worst show of all time.
Oh.
Because there wasn't an AEW crossover announced.
There was no CM Punk return.
What the hell were they thinking?
What was the point?
So, what happened about 2 weeks before Wrestle Kingdom is Tanahashi mentioned in a promo, if I beat the AEW World Champion, surely I should get a shot at it.
Yeah, it was an interview with Tokyo Sports where he was just saying, logically, surely if I beat the champion of AEW, that should get me a title shot.
But the very utterance of those initials publicly from a New Japan top star was a significant change in the relationship between those two promotions because, as we know, New Japan and AEW don't have the best relationship. We all want them to. It's like Ross and Rachel. We know they'll be good together, but it's going to take a few seasons of Friends for them to finally work it out.
God, you know that it's all about Rachel and Joey.
So this goes back even to July, when Dave Meltzer reported that AEW was a, quote, forbidden word in New Japan in the locker room for the officials. And that's like, the use of language is not a coincidence here. Yeah. When Tanahashi says the forbidden door, it must be a reference to that.
It's a fascinating thing because when the Bucks, Kenny and Cody all left, they left Ring of Honor and they left New Japan in, this time last year, effectively when they launched, it was just before this time last year. They were all under the impression it'll be fine because we can still have a working relationship with New Japan and Ring of Honor and it will be fine. We're all friends with them. New Japan did not see it that way. And we're like, oh, you've taken all of our top talent. We're not happy with you anymore.
Yes. That was a very naive, optimistic view of things.
Completely agree. Yeah.
ROH, I imagine, are similarly annoyed.
Oh, yeah.
Because they helped put on All In.
Yeah, totally. They were like, dude, we've got Madison Square Garden in a few weeks.
Yeah, so that all changed. So I can understand both sides, but, they need to be together. And we all kind of thought that Tanahashi and Jericho and now New Japan mentioning the AEW title, adding it as an actual stipulation to Wrestle Kingdom 14, maybe hinted towards the potential announcement of a working relationship, maybe even as soon as this weekend. And Dave Meltzer reported that there are a few wrestling world business shifts that Impact Wrestling's owners, Anthem, have bought Access TV, the station that New Japan air on in the States, and now they've taken New Japan off of that channel, which means that New Japan no longer have a US platform to sort of popularize themselves, and that's a huge part of what they want to do. So, you're thinking, oh, well, maybe they'll partner with AEW who have huge exposure. Mm-hmm. And also the ROH working relationship is kind of on the ropes. They haven't been sending talent over to them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not been great for a while. The thing is, I feel like it's a bit frosty at the moment between New Japan and Ring of Honor. That might just be because Ring of Honor's sales have not been great.
Yeah,
there's sort of since since the Bucks, Kenny and Cody left, there was just a big shift in terms of Ring of Honor, and it just felt like it was a company that they had a very tough 2019.
Yeah,
I think they can bounce back in 2020, but they had a tough 2019.
So with all this happening, you're thinking maybe New Japan and AEW are going to announce a working relationship this weekend. And the biggest sign of that would be if Tanahashi beats Jericho, meaning they'll have to have that AEW World Championship rematch.
Which was signed off by Tony Khan. Like, after Tanahashi did his interview with Tokyo Sport, Jericho did his promo where he said, hey, I think that's a great idea too. I've spoken to Tony Khan. He thinks it's a great idea. So he's the one that confirmed the stipulation. So there was a lot of speculation, you know, us included. I think wrestling fans around the world
we all want it to happen.
Have been thinking like, okay, well, Tanahashi beats Jericho. You set it up for a future AEW show. This is how you do the working relationship. Moxley's there as well. It all just seems to be, things appear to be falling into place. Instead, Jericho won. And he tapped out Tanahashi. And
very definitive.
Very, very definitively. And it feels from Jericho's post-match interview that he did and what Brian Alvarez has been saying on Wrestling Observer Radio that there isn't the working relationship here. It's a less frosty relationship between AEW and New Japan than it was this time last year, but there's still no working relationship.
Yeah, hopefully this is the first signs of that frostiness thawing. Brian Alvarez has said it's clear there's no working agreement on his review of the show. Dave Meltzer said in yesterday's Wrestling Observer Radio that effectively Jericho and Tanahashi, or Jericho went to Tony Khan and said, do you mind if we use this AEW title stipulation as a way to build interest in the match? That's all it was for. It was just a promotion tactic. And that's not misleading.
No.
Because that's what they delivered. They delivered the potential of that shot.
Completely.
And Jericho won. So don't think that this is some kind of carny tactic. It's actually an ingenious promotion move from someone, I think, who's proved himself to be a brilliant promoting mind in Chris Jericho over the last couple of years.
And it completely worked as well, because I think a lot of us going into that, I had Tanahashi down to win, because I thought them having that stipulation, surely there must be something here. So I went into that. And when Jericho won, I was surprised. I'd be like, wow, do you know what? I didn't see it coming. Yeah. I really didn't see that win coming. So I think actually as a promotional tactic, it was brilliant.
Really, really good.
It worked me.
And Khan must have seen that and apparently, according to Meltzer, said, yeah, you can use it as that. But that's all it was. There was, from what we know, there was no secret meetings between Goto and Khan and the Bushiroad owners of New Japan. It was purely Khan saying, yeah, you can use the AEW title as essentially a prop to make this feud feel a little bit more of something. Yeah. But that's not to say that's not part of Khan's larger strategy to get his foot in that forbidden door.
To get through the forbidden portal, so to speak. Yeah, and it feels like they have taken a step through that forbidden portal.
Yeah, and that's, well, we've got some comments here. So Chris Jericho was asked about this in his post-match interview, which, do you want me to read it out?
Yeah,
so this is via Jim Valley. Jericho stated, the forbidden door is closed, but I don't think it needs to be closed. Put aside all of the hurt feelings and egos.
Yeah, so Jericho there saying that there is no working relationship, but I think there should be. And it feels very silly to base this all on hurt feelings. I'd imagine from New Japan's side.
Well, I genuinely think Kenny Omega is sad that Ibushi didn't come over.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, because Kenny Omega even put that in one of his entrance videos where he mentions Ibushi turning his back on him. It's a very subtle nod. But we're all like, oh my God, they're working together. And then it came out later, no, Omega's genuinely still upset that his best friend from Japan didn't come over to AEW with him.
He committed himself full-time to New Japan.
Yeah. And then Chris Jericho has actually retweeted on this, I guess this is shortly after the match.
Yeah.
Someone, Davey Jacobson, tweeted, damn, hopefully that's not the last time we see Jericho versus Tanahashi go at it on a big stage. I want to see Tanahashi battle in AEW wrestling for the AEW championship. And Chris Jericho retweeted that, just saying, agreed.
Yeah. Jericho also said, I think in the post-match interview as well, is that he doesn't know when he's coming back to New Japan, which I thought was an interesting note.
Yeah, it feels like, because it's not just Chris Jericho on Wrestle Kingdom 14, it was also John Moxley. There are these two they were free agents, I feel like. They could do whatever they want. But now that AEW is on TV, I think that mindset just doesn't hold water anymore. They are AEW guys, and them appearing in New Japan is actually a bit awkward. It's not as seamless as you'd hope it to be. So
particularly when now the Mox is the US champion.
Yeah, I feel like, and then him not wearing the US title on AEW television is gonna be weird by its absence.
Yep.
So they're kind of like the stepchildren in the middle. They're Monica. They're Chandler.
Yeah.
They're Phoebe. Who's the other one?
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting when you look at the Moxley thing, because Moxley has said that he wants to wrestle in New Japan forever. He loves it. He loves it over there. He loves it in New Japan. The reason why I say it's interesting is because in May, he's got his 1-year opt-out. So the report is that Moxley signed a 3-year deal with AEW in May for, when he debuted at Double or Nothing. That had a 1-year opt-out. That after that first year, he can make the decision to either stick out and do the rest of those 2 years or go somewhere else. And I think him winning the United States Championship here, both nights, definitive wins for Moxley, beating Lance Archer in the Texas Death Match on night 1 and then beating Juice Robinson on night 2. And all of the stuff that he did during the G1. They're positioning him as a big deal in New Japan, particularly now that they did the huge angle after the match with Minoru Suzuki. Come May, we might see Mox isn't an AEW guy anymore.
I can see. I think that would be huge because AEW have done very good by him.
Yeah.
But Moxley and Jericho, they're in the top feud of AEW. They have a lot of sway in that company just from a star power perspective. They might not be co-executive vice presidents, but in terms of who are the big drawing names right now, it's those two.
Oh, yeah.
The former WWE guys, who would have thought it? They've got the most mainstream exposure and name recognition.
The ratings patterns show that as well.
And now, maybe it's New Japan doing a bit of chess moving as well, where they're thinking, hey, maybe there is an offer somewhere where we can get Moxley exclusive to us.
Yeah.
New Japan and AEW might not just not be working together. They might be actively competing over the same talent. Oof. So we'll have to see where it goes. I'm optimistic. I think this is even though it didn't go the way we thought we wanted it to.
Yeah.
It's, I think it was still, I'm optimistic for it to happen this year.
What was it that Alvarez said we listened to Wrestling Observer Radio just before we came on air. I think he said that, this time last year, if it was 100%, the working relationship between AEW and New Japan is about 5%. Now, it's probably 10%. So it is a step in the right direction.
Progress.
But
let's briefly talk about those two AEW wrestler matches. Jericho versus Tanahashi. Jericho has a 3-2 record. So he's lost 3, 2 of those at Wrestle Kingdoms, and only won 2 matches of his 5 in New Japan going into this.
And you made that point when the match started that Jericho needs to win. Otherwise, he doesn't become a drawing star power for New Japan because you just go into a New Japan match expecting him to lose.
I think that's why the AEW title stipulation was so good because I just thought Jericho's winning. But as soon as Tanahashi had that on the line, I was like, I don't know now.
Yeah, totally.
It just makes you way more into the match. Genius move.
Great match as well.
Yeah.
It was. I loved this match. I thought it was so good.
And all the matches on this card just had a different style. And Jericho and Tanahashi, sort of these, what's the word? Kind of like modern day legends. They're the biggest thing to heritage icons that you can get who are still actively wrestling to a very good level.
To be. They played it up like it was a dream match.
Yeah.
And those two sold it like it was a dream match. I've been like, oh my God, what is going to happen when Jericho faces off against the ace of New Japan? So the start of the match was just that. It was them playing off that idea of what's going to happen when we step into the ring together.
And all the sort of Rock Hogan style spots of I'm going to do your taunt, I'm going to do your taunt. It was really good. There was some Red Shoes got splashed in the corner, which allowed Jericho to low blow.
Great ref bump.
Whip with the belt.
I'm sorry, actually, if I'm going to be a negative on this match, if I'm going to be a negative Nelly, Red Shoes, where's the selling, mate? You took a splash in the corner, and your Red Shoes don't be up 2 minutes later counting a pin, mate.
Yeah, from that hot bod of Tanahashi. A referee earlier on the show just got chucked out of the ropes very, very easily. And
He
was gone for the whole match.
I don't think we saw him for the rest of the night. It was, I'm being very facetious. This was a great match. I loved that spot because they also had the moment when, Jericho used the ref bump to cheat. And then later on, I think it was just shortly after that, Tanahashi gave Jericho the low blow. Jericho's selling of that low blow was genius because he sold it as someone who was like, oh man, I did not think that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming. Also, ow, my balls.
Yeah. Yeah, there was so many inventive spots as well. I loved the code breaker reversal on the high fly flow.
Yeah.
Which was just looked brutal.
And Tanahashi hitting the code breaker as well.
Yeah, that was
marked
cool.
out massively for that.
And like the way Jericho wrestles these days is such like a brawler, big-bodied. It's not pretty.
Yeah.
But that makes it even better. Tanahashi code breaker after that. But Jericho had Tanahashi in the walls for ages in the last third of the match. And then he locked it in again at the end and just had it on for ages again. And he sort of half gets into a lion tamer, pulls Tanahashi back into the ring, and then just very lightly Tanahashi taps.
He had no other option.
And that was the forbidden door going
closed.
Which Kevin Kelly even pointed out on commentary. He said the forbidden portal remains shut.
Yeah.
So it is like they are. I think everyone there wants it to happen.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a really interesting period of time. I think it is something that's going to happen. I am quite confident that, it was one of my 2020 predictions, that New Japan are going to end their relationship with Ring of Honor and they're going to get into bed with AEW. I do think it's going to happen. I just don't think it was going to happen on this night.
Yeah, I agree. And, Jericho's there, posing with the AEW title, finally victorious at Wrestle Kingdom, to generic music.
Yeah.
Because the copyright issues, they replaced the music. I'm like, it's on New Japan World.
Look, dude, I get that it's a problem, but at least we got Liger's music.
Yeah.
It would have been really problematic for Liger's last match for them to be like, we cannot use that theme song.
And the other match with an AEW wrestler was Jon Moxley defending his US title against Juice Robinson.
His newly won US title. He won the last night.
Never lost it.
He never lost it.
Won it. How would you?
You reclaimed?
You won it even more. I'm even more the US champion now. And, Juice Robinson is absolutely fantastic. I just love the way he does everything.
His punch.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a moment, because the story of this match was that Mox wants to do the Mox thing of getting weapons and stuff. But Kevin Kelly was brilliantly saying, that's not what Juice wants to do here. Juice wants to win this the New Japan way. Yeah. He wants to win this inside the ring. And there's a moment when Mox was following up on this and grabbing the chair. Juice brilliantly punches the chair into Mox's face, really pulling up from the injured hand from a couple of years ago. Just great stuff from Juice. Yeah. Loved that spot.
It got really, really good near the end, just heavy hitting. Mox has got this brawling style down perfectly. I love his in-ring matches now.
So good.
And Mox hits a Death Rider out of nowhere, which is the paradigm shift, but in Japan. And he rolls through and hits an even bigger one with the bigger lift. And we're like, that was a good match. Really like that finish. And then
I didn't quite pick up on the music at first. You can actually go back and watch our live reactions. But then as soon as the pair of us worked out, it was like, oh my God, this is Kazunina Ray. That we go, and you had Rocky Romero talking about this. You want to talk about a tough son of a bitch? This is the toughest son of a bitch.
Because then out came Minoru Suzuki in a tracksuit, which was terrifying enough, staring Moxley down in the ring, down the ramp.
With this smile on his face that just said, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
Woo.
You think you're a brawler, son? Well, here's my pants off. Yeah. And then he took off his tracksuit, he ran down, and we're like, are we getting the match now?
I was shouting, it's happening right now. We're getting the match now. And you were like, just calm down. It's not happening.
Well, it was then they were ringing the bell. It was like the ding, 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 where it's the DQ, we need more help down here. And they went at it. And, Suzuki choked out Mox very quickly, then hit the Gotch pile driver. And Moxley sold it for ages. I bet he is ecstatic to be working with
He
Suzuki.
must be so excited about this match.
Someone go back and tell John Moxley and CZW that you'll get to face Suzuki at New Japan. Oh,
which we think is probably going to happen at New Beginning, which is their next big show.
I hope so. I don't think this is one you want to hold off on. I want this next chapter while the momentum's there.
What if it's
in
tomorrow?
February?
New Year's Dash.
Wow. Well, I wouldn't even agree with that. I think you should definitely shoot an angle, but you shouldn't give away the match so quickly. I think it deserves more build. But we've done this mailbag topic quite a few times. Out of all the AEW wrestlers and all the New Japan wrestlers, what dream matches would you like to see? I don't think we ever said Suzuki versus Moxley.
Because in my head, I always had Moxley Ishii, which we then got at the G1. And I didn't even think, Mox Suzuki.
Yeah.
Oh, that is, for me is so exciting as a prospect. Like I want to see that match real bad.
Yeah. It's inspired.
Yeah.
And it just shows John Moxley, not only champion, he's got a big feud coming up.
Yeah.
Against, weirdly, a non-English country thing, America, Canada, Australia.
Yep.
The winners of the US title are non-Japanese usually. And now you've got Suzuki going for it here. Very, very exciting. I love it.
Love it. Love it.
Let us know your thoughts on whether we're going to get a sort of working relationship between AEW and New Japan and what you thought of the show. We've only had 3 in so far. We'll give you a little dance break to give you time to get some in.
We got one more super chain after that. So, Valaba Mamidapudi said 6 years. I waited 6 years for Naito to get the big Wrestle King main events win. Never have I felt so satisfied. Until the post angle. I blame Goto for not finishing the job. Sorry, Nikki. Have you get, son? I don't think you need to go to the gym now.
Blimey, that's the cardio.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, it's your thoughts.
The main event win and then the post main event angle. Yeah, I think that there was a point where I was like, oh, where's the angle? Where's the big thing that's going to happen after Naito's win? And then I thought, you know what? No, he's earned this.
Yeah. This
has been years in the making, double champion. Let's have the moment. But then Kenta ran in and beat him up. So, yeah.
Well, we'll get to that. Daryl says, great work, Ollie and Luke. Any tips, recommendations for my Tokyo trip in March? I have a full 7 days there with my girlfriend. Worth going for New Japan shows on the March 3rd.
Right. Now he said girlfriend, I think. I think he's lying. Didn't ask. Going to Japan with my girlfriend. That's what I got from that.
I would recommend Akihabara, particularly if you're into your pop culture. I loved it there. Shinjuku is Shinjuku for me was my favorite place. I really, really liked it there. That's very good for shopping and stuff. Go see the Godzilla Hotel. I think the Godzilla store's in Shinjuku, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Shinjuku is wicked. Robot Cafe is a lot of fun. It's bonkers, but it's a lot of fun. Gazatola of Rock and Roller says, Mox versus Suzuki, yes, effing please.
So excited for it. It's now like one of my most anticipated matches already. Yeah.
I also fully appreciate that everyone recommends the Robot Cafe. So that's a very basic thing for me to recommend. And lastly, Jivanshu Dua says, what if John Moxley is revealed as the leader of Bullet Club?
Moxley? No, I mean...
He feels like a lone wolf.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin.
Yeah, it's like, that's why he shouldn't go within a circle.
Yeah.
He's his own thing. Plus, Bullet Club, they're not in an upswing right now. They had great leader after great leader. Finn, AJ, Kenny. Yeah. And the Jay White era hasn't been amazing.
It's not been as good.
But, I just think they're a pot that's about to boil, But I don't think Mox is the answer there.
No, well, that's all the Super Chats got. So should we do the full review?
Yeah, let's do that. Oh, right. So we started off with a Jushin Thunder Liger retirement match.
Oh, Jushin
He
Thunder
was
Liger.
teaming up with Naito Sano. I probably butchered that because I don't know who he is. With Yoshiaki Fujiwara.
And they took
I've definitely heard Fujiwara's name.
And they took on the team of Hiromu Takahashi, who won the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship on night 1 from Will Ospreay in a fan-freaking-tastic match. I loved that match so much.
Still haven't seen it,
Oh,
but I've heard it's, yeah.
Yeah. And Dragon League. And it was... So we talked about this on the live stream, that Liger matches for the last, 10 years maybe, has been Liger plays the hits.
Yeah.
And I love that. Absolutely love it. I've seen him do this match. Like, it's funny, we were talking about this. Like, so I saw the Rev Pro TV tapings. Liger was the opening match with Chris Brooks. 5-minute match, Liger plays the hits. We then had Wrestling MediaCon, where Liger had a couple of matches there. And those were 5-minute matches where Liger plays the hits.
Yeah.
And I loved it every single time I saw it. And here, this was Liger plays the hits, and I loved every single second of it.
Yeah, he can't keep up with the new generation of junior heavyweights because they're insane. And he's 50. But he can still play those hits that made him famous. It's like going to a sort of older band, Rolling Stones. Why can't I think of any other bands? Why is Manic Street Preachers coming to my head?
I'm just letting you hold on this one.
You go and see your favourite old-timey band.
Like the Manic Street Preachers.
Yeah, and they don't play any new stuff. It's just the songs that made you fall in love with them.
Just play If You Tolerate This, Your Children Will Be Next. I remember when I saw the Wild Hearts in Portsmouth, they just released Chutzpah. So like 2009-ish maybe, I think. And Ginger got up on stage and they started playing a couple of the tracks. And he was like, look, I appreciate none of you know these songs, but contractually, we have to play this new album. So just bear with us for the next 15 minutes while we play these tracks, and then I'll take requests.
That's amazing. But yeah, Liger did the hits. He had a really good exchange with Takahashi near the end. I thought we were going to get a few more near falls.
I was expecting more, yeah.
But then Takahashi just, hit his new finisher, I believe.
Which he's called Time Bomb 2. because of course he has.
Yeah. And then he pinned Liger. It was a retirement match.
Yeah.
It wasn't the super amazing match, but what a talent. Just pay respect, I guess. Unfortunately, it was such a momentous thing.
Before we get into that, should we give him a standing ovation?
Again?
Yes. Thank you, Liger.
Thank you, Liger. But it was such a historic thing. The feed then this crashed.
Well, we thought it was us.
Yeah.
We thought we'd broken something. But yeah, Liger's retirement crashed New Japan World. Just the English commentary feed, from what we can gather, the Japanese feed was fine. And if you're watching it on Fight, it was fine. But the English commentary track of New Japan World, completely failed. A lot of people had to log out, log back in again. We got logged out. And when we logged back in, it said that there was no video there. We thought Andy was trying to log in and it was stealing our login for it. But it came back. By the time the next match, the entrance of the next match had started, I think we got the Roppongi 3K.
Yeah, it was their little custom video.
Yeah, so it was only out for a little while, but it did feel like it kind of sucked because we didn't get to see the full retirement. Like we didn't get to see Liger have his last moment.
Yeah, which is a shame. But technical issues are what they are, unfortunately. After that, we got Bullet Club with Taiji Ishimori and El Phantasmo.
El
or ELP.
Phantasmo.
Does he say, is it just ELP now?
I don't know. I've just always referred to him as ELP.
Yeah, well, those two repping Bullet Club as the junior heavyweight tag champions, taking on Roppongi 3K.
3K. Yo and Show with Rocky Romero and his Ghostbusters little pack that he's got.
Yeah, who got probably the second actual entrance. Everyone else just got normal entrances. I like Wrestle Kingdom to have flamboyant entrances. It's the WrestleMania of Japan.
Yeah.
But it was only really Okada with a luminous cape and this. So I felt a little bit shortchanged by those.
Juice Robinson had some fun glasses.
Yeah. That's restrained for him. So it was just, I really liked this. I thought it was a really solid match. They weren't out there to steal the show. They just had a bloody fun time.
My favorite spot of this match, it wasn't any of the flip-de-doo sequences, although they were fantastic. It was ELP and Ishimori had a sequence where they did back rakes. And it was basically trying to see how they could one-up the ridiculousness of doing a back rake. Because it's such a classic old-school heel move. So it just started with ELP doing a back rake. Ooh, you dastardly heels. Then ELP grabs, I can't remember if it was Sho or Yo, for Taiji Ishimori to do like a second rope move on him. Ishimori jumps off the second rope, lands on his feet, back rakes him. Ooh. Then Ishimori grabs either Sho or Yo to be like, so ELP can do a big move. ELP gets to the top rope, or he walks the ropes and then does a moonsault off the ropes, lands on his feet, back rake. Oh, you dastardly heels.
It was great heel work.
I loved it.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really good. They're so good together as a team. ELP, we were saying on the live reactions, we've seen him a lot over the years on the British indie scene.
He's been one of our local boys.
Yeah, even though he's Canadian, he wrestles a lot over here. But like he was always just this amazing athletic wrestler. Now he's got a character for me. I thought it was excellent.
Shouting at babies.
I even had a Styles clash for a near fall, which was a nice shout out. But he went for a low blow on Sho, but Sho in a weird retread of the classic Bret Hart wearing a protective metal thing over his gut to avoid the Goldberg spear, had a cup on.
Yep, he had a cup on.
And Sho and Yo won.
Yeah, it's fun stuff.
And Yo put the cup in his mouth to celebrate.
Oh, mate, you know where that's been.
Like it's a gold medal, and he's testing if it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a close tag team.
If that's what you're into.
Then we got Zack Sabre Jr. versus Sanada, which was the exact sort of match you'd expect. Just absolutely brilliant technical wrestling. The match starts off with about a minute of reverse pin, reverse pin, reverse pin. Just both guys trying to one-up each other. This is like... It's groundbreaking for what it is. Like, no one does this, like, near fall transitions as good as these two guys at the moment.
No. And then it built into your Zack Sabre Jr. match of, I'm going to stretch you out. But it was all about Sanada trying to out-wrestle him. And he'd be like, no, I'm just going to stretch you out there a little bit more. Then Sanada would overpower him. He's like, octopus stretch. I'm just going to grab you down by here now. But they kept building up to this pinfall thing. So they did this whole pinfall combination thing again in the middle of the match. And it played into the finish, where they did more of these pinfall combinations.
My God.
With Zack eventually getting the pin. I loved this match.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say it's the best match of the night when you've got the Okada Naito match at the end, and and you've got the some of the other stuff as well. But this might have been my favorite match of the night. I absolutely loved it.
It was absolutely amazing. It's the final sequence, which went on for about 40 seconds. And it is just them rolling each other up, them flipping. And you're like, well, this is it. This is it. No, this is it. Oh, my God, you're still going. Have you ever seen that Street Fighter final where the person keeps blocking all of the moves?
Yeah, with Chun-Li's kicks, and he tap blocks each one.
Yeah. And it was like that. I was just like, no, you're going to lose it here. You're going to lose it here. Yeah. Oh, my God,
parry,
you
won. Parry, super.
And Zack won. Zack won in the end of it, which really puts him over as the master of this style, even though Sanada was really taking him to the limit. But means LIJ aren't completely draped in gold. They won the Never six-man tag.
That's right, yeah.
On the pre-show, which we didn't watch. We got in early enough as it was. Of course, Takahashi's got the junior heavyweight. Naito would win both the other main belts in the company later on. So it's only Sanada, really.
It's because he was Amish. It was Amish Sanada.
Amish Sanada. He's got that chin strap beard.
If he had the big mohawk, it'd have been a different story.
Then we got John Moxley versus Juice Robinson, which we've already talked about. Kenta versus Goto, which I love the Sabre Jr. Sanada match. The best match is definitely Naito Okada. There's no argument about that. However, the last 5 minutes of Kenta Goto was amazing.
These two slapped the ever-loving S-word out of each other. Brian Alvarez brilliantly tweeted out, it would have been safer for them to have an actual fight instead of this worked fight that they had. Because this was a fight.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I bought into every single one of them because, most likely, they were real.
This is my favorite thing in New Japan. It is the two guys stand up, I'm tougher, no, I'm tougher. let's hit each other in the face. And that's all it is. And, maybe it's not the safest thing in the world, but until my ignorance is lifted and someone gets a horrible concussion, I'm going to enjoy it. Because I know this, I haven't got long left on this.
Yeah.
It's like me, plastic water bottles. This is convenient. Now I can't use you anymore.
It's amazing you said that. Shibata can't wrestle anymore. Like,
That
surely,
was a headbutt.
surely that should have been the moment where we're like, maybe this style isn't safe.
Yeah, well, I can explain that away. They were dehydrated. It was long in the match. It was a sick headbutt spot. It was a headbutt spot here, probably in reference to, because Shibata was a big part of the context of this feud.
Yeah.
With him being a training partner of Goto and Kenta awfully turning heel on him.
Yeah, which he did later in the, later in the night. Well, we'll get to the closing angle.
But yeah, it was an amazing end sequence. I just thought it was incredible.
Wicked stuff.
And Goto won.
Yeah.
Goto won the Never Openweight Championship. Would the final angle have been better if Kenta had won here? I think it would have.
Yeah, I think it would have had more. I mean, it's why they got the title off him, because they were putting him into the main event angle with Tetsuya Naito. But, he lost early in the night, then comes out, and all of a sudden he's the main challenger for the top belt. It doesn't quite work as well.
No. Just save it for you've got a big show the next day, which traditionally sets up all the big angles.
Yeah, completely.
Then we got Jay White versus Ibushi, which was good.
Good stuff.
It was amazing.
Yes,
but
yes,
this is Wrestle Kingdom. Remember, the parameters are somewhat changed.
Yeah, this was a really, really good match, and it was Ibushi. Someone had to lose twice. Like, the way that this weekend was structured, someone had to lose both their matches. And they weren't going to have it be Jay White, so they had it be Ibushi. So they made Ibushi look as strong as humanly possible in this match. He had 2 visual pins on Jay White in this. He had this match won. But through Gato interference, Jay White eventually picked up the win. Trusting Gato, that, it's a long-term thing for him. Look at Naito. Like, Naito's big win here has been, 6 years in the making? As someone said, we thought it was going to happen 2 years ago. He was finally going to get that Wrestle Kingdom main event win, and it didn't happen. So he got it here instead, because Gato's all about, why tell a story over 6 months when I can tell it over 6 years?
Which is great.
So Kota will get his moment. I think quite likely he'll win the G1 again this year, or he'll win the G1 next year. Gato has got a plan in place for, Kota's there for the long term, so you may as well stretch this out. And I think they did very well in protecting him here.
Yeah. So the Gato interference, ref bump. There was a brilliant bit where Gato did his classic, very weak chair shot onto Kota.
Loves those.
Yeah, and Kota just turned around, got in his face, no-sold a load of punches.
It was the kicks. He was trying to kick him. He was trying to kick him in the gut, but because he's this waxwork statue, it's just like, no.
And then Kota just punched Gato in the stomach, and he just went back. Those goats that get they get scared and they freeze and fall over.
Yeah.
It was like that. He went stiff as a rod and fell back. It was a brilliant. And that's like Gato and Jay White. Even though they do back up, they are credible. They are more of a goofy heel team.
Yeah,
and this was definitely a goofy heel sell.
I mean, look at Gato's hat.
Yeah,
I think Gato hit Ibushi as lightly as he possibly could with a chair, because he knew just a few spots later Jay White was going to launch one right into his face.
Yes,
and he threw that chair into his head, which I was not. It wasn't for me.
Yeah, the real. We all know Kota's neck is invincible. hit him in the neck. He landed a lot on his neck.
Oh yeah,
but this one was straight in the.
It's like a magnet.
It was.
He's got a magnet in the top of his head, and there's magnets in the ring. He just keeps going for them.
So that was bad. But yeah, in the predictions, I had Ibushi to win everything. I had him to win last night, and I had him to win here as well.
Same here.
End up as double champion. In the end, he won nothing.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's the right decision. Obviously, the trusting Gato thing, he's more than proven he's got a plan in place. But I don't know. I thought the momentum was there for Kota. He's 37. Mm-hmm. I would have had him win here.
Same. I would have done the same thing.
Then we got the Jericho Tanahashi match, which we've already talked about. And then the main event was just sublime.
Yeah.
Okada versus Naito for both the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championships.
And this was an Okada-Naito match. What, 40-odd minutes, we reckon? About 40 minutes?
35, 40.
Yep. First 15, 20 minutes is your Okada. We're going 40 minutes. Let's not rush everything.
Yeah.
And then your final 15, 20, 25 minutes, it's just sheer wrestling bliss.
It's incredible, yeah.
We've had so many photos sent to us from like our live stream of us like reacting to this match, or gifs of us reacting to this match. I've never been so invested in near falls. Like, I don't feel like I've been that invested in near falls in quite some time. I bought into every single one of those near falls, which is funny because New Japan gets criticized a lot for its overusage of near falls. But I don't know. I thought they worked it brilliantly.
Yeah, it was on par with that John Cena AJ Styles Royal Rumble match where finisher, near fall, finisher. Oh my God, more kickouts. And it was even though I thought, well, Naito's probably winning here, man, Okada got me.
Yeah.
Got me every time. I thought, well, maybe they're going to hold it off another year. Maybe it's time to keep on going back to Okada because he's that damn good.
Yeah, he is.
And I just thought some of the stuff was incredible. Okada got dropped on there was a reverse Hurricanrana off the second rope from Naito.
Yeah.
That Okada just went straight into the earth for. There was a drop kick, one of those Okada drop kicks. Naito just bumped, then got up and hit a Destino. What a near fall that was!
Totally bought into it.
But it was a Rainmaker counted into a Destino, which was counted into a Tombstone, which was counted into a Rainmaker for an Okada near fall.
Oh.
That was the one for me. And then from that point onwards, it was the last 10 minutes of the match were magic.
Yeah. And the other thing we haven't talked about as well was the DDT on the table.
Yeah.
That Okada did. Oh, no, sorry, it's the knee drop. It was Jericho did the DDT. So Naito, the story from the night one was that Naito was getting his knee worked over by Jay White. And so Okada wasn't targeting the knee at first. He's an honourable man. And then once he saw the knee, he's like smelt blood. I was like, all right, fine. I'll go for the knee then.
Yeah.
And so he gets onto the outside, politely hands a monitor to one of the broadcasters. Not like these WWE lads. They're just like, don't care. Don't care.
They're expensive.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, no, this is yours.
Yeah.
Could you hold this for a second, please? And he gets Naito, lifts him over, and he slams his knee into this table. And it's not like a table spot to break the table. This table was not designed to break, and that made it so much worse.
It's a no-selling table.
It was a Japanese table, and it made a horrible sound.
I like the bit even later where Naito is sort of out on his feet, and he just spits at Okada, and Okada's like, I was trying to beat you a nice way. And then he pushes over Naito and just starts wailing on his knee. And the crowd start to boo.
Yeah.
And Okada does this. It's like, eggs him up. Yeah, I'm going to work heel now.
Because this crowd wanted Naito to win so badly. Because they've all been on this journey. They've all been on this journey waiting for this moment. And he finally got that moment. He hit the Destino and got the 3 counts. And it was a wonderful, wonderful moment that was slightly undermined by the post-match angle.
There was also a Phoenix Splash that he missed 2 years beforehand, but he hit it here, and then 3 Destinos for the win. Amazing story, amazing match. And then, you get this really nice celebration spot at the end. Naito's got both belts. He cuts a promo. Okada's being helped out, and Naito says something to Okada, and Okada just puts his hand up like that, which is the Naito pose. Really heartwarming, beautiful show of respect.
Beautiful stuff.
That was one of my favourite moments of the whole night. And then he carries on doing the promo. I'm like, where are LIJ? I want them to be all down there with him, all holding belts, all in their own wacky hairstyles and costumes.
With a cat.
Yeah, right. And, like Takahashi's back. There's a great story there. That's the visual to close on for me.
I completely agree.
But then Kenta attacked Naito to set up that first feud, I guess.
Yeah, as you were saying there, like the closing shot should have been LIJ celebrating together with Amish Sanada. But what we got instead was not that. They didn't come down at all, and we just got Kenta attacking him from out of nowhere. And it was quite, he gave him the go to sleep and like a brilliantly dick heel move. Then teabagged Naito and sat on him in the Shibata pose with both belts next to him.
Yeah, like cross-legged, right on his chest.
Which I thought was a really good visual. I just don't think you should have ended this show because it sucked Kevin Kelly said this, it sucked the air out of the arena, which is good heel heat, but that's not what this crowd wanted. This crowd wanted to celebrate with Naito.
Yeah, I think it killed the crowd a bit. They didn't want, it wasn't the right thing to do.
Do it at New Year's Dash.
Yeah, totally. And then, then Kenta walks off, and then 5 minutes after this beatdown angle started, was it Dragon Lee?
No, I think it was Bushi came in.
Sorry, yeah, but Dragon Lee's Bullet Club. Wait, where is Dragon Lee?
Dragon Lee's in Bullet Club.
Yeah, so Bushi runs down.
Yeah,
got you.
Where is he?
I'm confused about my luchadors
I think
now.
He might be in Chaos. He was teaming
Bushi
with
ran down.
Bushi came down.
Bushi ran down and sort of chased Kenta off. I'm like, there are a lot more LIJ members who should have come out here.
There's loads of them. Your tag champs are back there. Your
Yeah.
6-man tag champs.
So it didn't work as an angle for me.
No.
Even if the crowd were hot for it, I would have still been asking, but where's this person? Where's this person? We do it with AEW. We do it with WWE. So only fair we criticize this as well.
And again, I think the show should have ended with Naito holding both belts, celebrating with the crowd.
Totally. But overall, an absolutely fantastic in-ring show.
Beautiful. It was a beautiful show.
5 out of 5.
Yeah, it was absolutely quite easily.
But thank you everyone who joined us to watch the live reactions and for this as well. We don't have any more super chats.
We do not. No, so we
through.
can get on out of here.
So yeah, should we just do a few? Should we see people's thoughts?
Yeah, well, someone asked us if we were going to do a review of Night 1 because they were looking for thoughts on the Ospreay Takahashi match. It is it's a 6-star match. It was just unbelievable how good that match was and how talented both guys are. And it's not everyone's style. And I know because I got a lot of tweets about it yesterday. And hilariously, all making the same one joke, which is, the circus in town. I appreciate it's not everyone's style, but it is for me. Like, I think it's so good.
Yeah.
And these two just put on an absolute clinic on how to do it perfectly. Ospreay's on another level. Takahashi, it's just wonderful seeing Takahashi back, but Ospreay's on another level.
Dave Meltzer said on the Wrestling Observer radio episode that came out after day one that he said, it's look at the star ratings in the Observer. So we've definitely got some 5+ star matches.
I think this will be multiple 5-star plus matches. Even Okada Ibushi is likely going to be a 5-star plus match.
I think we should just assume that it's not out of 5 anymore, right?
Yeah.
Now we can move past the whole broke his own rating system.
Yeah, he's broken it multiple times. Yeah. So I thought it was terrific stuff. I wasn't as keen on the Naito Jay White match though.
Let's get through a few just random normal messages. Mr. Juicebox 100. Would you guys like to see Ospreay turn heel and join Bullet Club?
No, I don't think I would. No, personally.
Yeah, I'd keep him as like a super babyface. Someone said it in the live chat. I can't remember who their name was, but they said they would love to see Ospreay win this year's G1.
Oh, I think
that's a great idea. Step up into the heavyweights.
Actually, that's what I said when me and Laurie did the predictions. I had Takahashi down to win. I said my hope for it is that it takes Ospreay out of that junior heavyweight division, which he felt like he was escaping last year when he won the Never Openweight Championship, but then just almost got pulled back into it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him get out of that and get into those heavyweights and have those matches with the likes of Okada and Tanahashi and Moxley and Ishii and Suzuki and Kenta and Naito and make himself a credible main eventer because he should be in that position.
It'll be safer for him. Well, actually, we say that he'll probably just land on his neck.
Well, of course he will.
Daryl Spikeman, who I believe is the guy who said he was going to Japan.
Yes, that's correct.
He said, I'm not kidding, Ollie. I will show pictures of her on the trip. That's because I don't believe he's got to go. VJ Mahan, Okada versus Omega or Gargano versus Ciampa. Got to go Okada versus Omega, 100%
actually. I gotta go
but
there,
it's daylight between them.
It's not like it's an easy choice.
If Ciampa and Gargano got to finish that feud properly, I might have given it to them. Because I just, overall as a story, and the characters, I was more into.
Seems to be a lot of chat about, I was just going back through the chat. A lot of people talking about Jay White and whether he'd be well suited to WWE or AEW. I just wonder what your thoughts might on that be.
I think he's just great. he's just a very, very effective heel. So I think he could work anywhere, really. Obviously, WWE I'm not really enamored by anyone going to WWE. Him in NXT, that's a lot more exciting to me.
Yeah, I think he's come a long way in those 2 years since they put him over Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom. I think he's come along leaps and bounds. I don't think anyone would have thought he would get as good as he has done in such a short amount of time.
Oh, yeah. Any last
what would you think of a match between Orange Cassidy and Toriano?
Oh, maybe too much. I think that might be too much. You need a straight man to play off of in those situations.
No, we'll have this last question. This comes in from Panda Hat, who says, do you think they should do 2 days again for next year's Wrestle Kingdom? That's an interesting question.
I don't think so. I'm not a fan of the 2-day stuff anywhere, unless it's a tournament-based thing.
Yeah.
So no. What about you?
No, I think I'm in agreement because like Laurie and Simon, when they watched, they said it never felt like a big show. It felt like a warm-up act. It felt like the pre-show to this being the actual proper event, which then really undermines day one and putting that championship match on day one. You know, some of your big championship matches on day one. So I don't know if it fully works. The only way it can work, I feel, is that if you've got 2 distinct cards. So if you have like X number of belts to defend on this night and the other set of belts to defend it on this night.
Yeah.
As opposed to this night is going to set up the following night.
Yeah, because realistically, you know either the Intercontinental or the Heavyweight Champion will have a 1-day reign.
Yeah.
So how excited can you possibly get for a very brief transitional champion?
Agreed, yeah.
Also, a lot of live reports said that the crowd were actually dead for the majority of the show. We didn't hear them that much. I didn't know it was that bad. They woke up for the last couple of matches.
Oh, really, yeah.
But, you know, that's what going to a 5-hour event the day before will do to you.
Yeah, it's tiring.
You see it like on loads of things. Like when WWE would run NXT all the way through to SmackDown on that pay-per-view schedule.
Yeah.
SmackDown, the crowd are dead. All in the same town.
So tired.
Anyway, thank you ever all so much. No one else has popped into the Super Chats, have they?
No.
Mine's a bit weird. It won't show the last couple. But yes, thank you everybody for joining us here and watching Wrestle Kingdom 14. I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, yes.
We certainly did.
Loved it.
But please do give us a subscribe, press the thumbs up button, share this video around, tell your friends about WrestleTalk, and press the videos that have just appeared here to catch up with the latest awesome WrestleTalk things, and press this button to become a pledge hammer on Patreon, where we do loads of exclusive stuff for you. I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luke Owen, and that was wrestling.